Hello, everyone, and welcome to Talk Together. Thank you very much for joining us for this evening, talking about Dungeons and Dragons, and there's other mythical beings out there, but we'll come across those. My name's Tom. I'm going to be your host for the next about hour or so, and I am delighted to be able to present I was about to say friends. Let's call friends. We're friends now, John. This is my new friend, John. Again, doesn't do anything to do with stream, so I'm just like, here's John. No, yes. So with John here, I'm going to be giving you some enticing questions, some little anecdotes. What questions? Well, I could just make them up, or we could let jolly D20 decide for us.
Indeed. If there's a chance to roll, let's roll.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
roll credits.
And we're done. A nice quick episode. I was going to say, even if you want to roll for your answer, where you like roll a charisma check and you're like 2, that's a good question. I'm like,
A good GM has a table for everything, right? To roll
of course, absolutely. Before we get into these questions, the stream's going to be at about an hour, and we are delighted to be sponsored by Hero Forge, Ultra Pro, Phoenix Dice, and Alchemy RPG, and we are supported by Eldred Champions, D&D Beyond, Neverwinter, and Elderwood Academy. We are Roll Together RPG on all social media, and we would also like to give a big thank you to our D20 Club. If they give one of their local currency or a single gold piece, they keep us with the lights on, which we are very appreciative of. Also, you can find us on the podcast, Roll Together RPG. If we're not there, let us know. As I said, social media, including TikTok, at the moment. Let's see how things go. Well, after that little preamble, John, apart from being my friend, would you like to introduce yourself to the people and why you are actually here?
I will. Thank you very much, and yeah, absolute pleasure to be here. Thanks for the invitation, and you know, it's been awesome to meet everyone involved with the stream team after we've all got pulled together from all the little corners of the internet and of the world. The people that don't know, I'm based in Japan, and have been here for more than half of my life now. I crossed the line last year was the point where I've actually been here longer. Yes, I am John of Phoenixiwaki, and as you like to say, we play D&D and lots of other TTRPGs, and we have several ongoing campaigns, and lots of different players all over the world. I think the current count is 22 players in 6 countries at the moment. And we do nice long campaigns, some shorter ones. We are known for our Rift Raiders competitive style, which we do with our friends over at GM Workshop. And of course the randomly rolled, which is I like your question ideas with the dice tonight. Our randomly rolled one-shot roulette series where everything is completely random. And yeah, you can find us over on Twitch at Phoenixiwaki and on YouTube for the VODs and things. And it's a lot of fun. Imagination run wild.
Yeah. I like the fact you're like, it's fun, where you're like, it's a slog. I won't lie to you. I roll things and I'm just like, ugh.
Those idiots who say it can't be too much fun.
Exactly. This is very professional work. You're like a grum.
I'm testing the boundaries. No, so I love every minute of it.
So, do you DM? Do you play as well on the channel, or
On occasion, yes, we have a couple of friends on the channel that like to GM for us from time to time, and I've I love guesting with friends for charity events, and I've done a couple of mini campaigns over our fellow stream team buddies over at Quest Junkies UK. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I do want to get the chance, but I do enjoy the GMing foremost, and yeah, I like to be the one behind the curtain as opposed to just getting the glimpses.
With all the tables, you're just able to
all the tables.
Amazing. Okay. Well, as we said, we're both very excited about the possibility of dice. So, as we say here, let's roll that dice.
Here comes.
What is that first one? That is a... Oh wow! Okay, 16. Okay, so this is one where we get to really find out. If you made yourself in D&D, what would you be?
Ooh. Okay. Well, the day job is teaching. So, academic.
Yeah.
academic in nature, wizardly. I don't know. I leave Patch over a question because you go to main the wizards. Let's think. I think I've had the chance living over here to actually take part in a couple of sumo wrestling tournaments and things. So I like getting into the thick of it as well. So I think I should probably go cleric.
Okay.
To be kind of you got the books on one side and the get into the thick of things on the other side. And in sumo wrestling that's thick with two C's.
Of course. Very, very cool. Well, how was sumo wrestling? It just seems like
it's great. Yeah, it's hilarious. If you're okay with the outfit, you just kind of like get past that and don't mind. Everyone's in the same boat. So I mean, and it's on the proper arena. They call it a dohyo, the sand made arena, and the referees have got the full kimono kind of outfit, the get up. I think there's probably a different name for it, but that you've seen, if you've seen any in video of it. And it was in the small mountain village, tiny mountain village that my wife was born in, and we went along to watch one day. And they were like, John, get in here. And I was like, what? It's like, don't like to say no to opportunities like that. So,
I mean, how could you refuse?
Exactly. And they made the right choice because I invited several friends to join us for that later on. And because it became this thing that foreigners were doing, they actually got funding from the prefecture as a cultural, significant cultural event. And they were allowed to renew everything. And so, so a charitable cleric with themes of internationalization on the side.
I think that's lovely, and also just a cleric being like, "Sure, I'll come compete in your athletics."
Exactly. I do like the mix. I've done. Let's think. Actually, I'm saying this is like, have I actually ever played one? Well, I mean, we play the games to get away from reality. So I guess if this is me, real life me in the game, then it makes sense that I haven't actually played one. I've done Ranger, I've done Druid. But I do like the mix of having the magical abilities, but still being able to get into the fight.
Absolutely,
getting down there in the initiative.
I do love the fact that you're like, oh yes, being a sumo wrestler is too close to my real life, so I'll just
done that. Something new. What's something new? No, I'm very fortunate. It's there's this Japan is sometimes on a day-to-day like daily life kind of level, sometimes is tricky for foreigners to get thoroughly involved with, and there are the cultural boundaries and things that they do exist. But I mean, if you're open-minded and have open-minded people around you, then it works out fine. And then the other stuff is actually easier to get into if you find the opportunity, because they're delighted to invite people in to do and share their culture with them. So.
Very nice, very sweet.
Yes.
Connected to that, what do you teach?
English conversation, and help out with school studies and things. All levels, like from little kindergarten kids all the way up to adult. So it's a nice varied mixed job.
That sounds very exciting, just sort of like, I said, and the range. You're not just teaching, like here where you'd be like, we're doing this one book every year, but then you get a nice range of,
you got the mix and there's different levels, and the different mix of classes and class styles makes it very, very enjoyable.
Amazing.
So good.
Again, I'm still like going, sumo wrestling.
Strap me up, here we go.
I guess I'll go in.
No, I don't fancy my chances these days. It's been a couple of years.
Hey, I believe in you. I just get a message going, you shouldn't. My knee hurts now. I'm like, sorry, John. Sorry.
Yes. Picture, point of view picture of a leg in a cast.
Just your fault. And I'm like, wow, okay.
you get some very pretty bruises if you actually fall on the rope that around the ring on the outside. If you actually fall right on, you get the nice striped bruise from
You have to love a beautiful bruise where you're just like, yeah, that's. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, everyone that joined us for it is just it's just going for it and just we got cautioned like getting carried away with things a couple of times. It's like we're just here for fun. It's just a festival. But yeah, it was a good time.
Amazing. Well, again, thank you for that wonderful diversion. I just
yes, sorry, but in D&D,
you're like dice. I'm like, yes, dice.
Okay, here we go. We're going to get the sumo wrestling thing in there. So I would be a cleric with the grappler feet.
Which again is great because you would not expect that from the cleric who's suddenly just like get on the ground. Indeed. You're like, no. Yeah, amazing.
It's like aggressive proselytizing.
You need to.
Have you heard the word of
we've had a few on stream where we've had people who don't want to be healed, and that's sort of the clerics are like, take it, take my cure wounds.
Yeah, they think they've got away with it. You've got a healing word as well.
Yeah. Just whisper a healing word in their ear, and they're like, oh, now my wounds are fixed. Amazing. Well, speaking of dice, let us roll that dice. Once more. Actually, that's very nice. 17, and it does ask, hey, how do you feel about fudging rolls?
Okay. I think I have done it. Confession to any of my players if they're watching. I have done it in the past, but only for the story's sake. And on the whole, not actually. Like the general rule. I don't. I usually, it's. I mean, everyone's kind of signing in to, like, it's not particularly verbalized in a very specific way, but everyone's kind of signing on to this. We're playing this game. The dice are going to determine how things go, and if you're using advantage, or if those lovely folks over in our chats are giving inspiration crystals from with the channel points and all that, the nice interactive things that we can do, and it still comes up as a natural one, then it was meant to be. So, and like saying, we were joking around about the random tables before, but I do enjoy using them when there's it's not a very heavy story moment, and it doesn't cause too much chaos. But then we have sessions like the one-shot roulette where it's entirely randomly generated. But I think there's just, I have, but rarely, and it's always in the player's favor.
Yeah.
Like I never switched. It's like, I was gonna miss that attack, so I hit you, yay. So I would never do it for my own sake. But but it's very, very rare.
And I also think for both of us, where we're trying to make an online story, we're trying to entertain, and then sometimes where you're like, yeah, this is just going to be, you're just watching the fighter whiff for like 6 rounds. You're like, oh, okay, cool. That's you. Now we're moving on. But yes, no, I think that's, and I think, as you said, the beautiful thing about like doing a random thing where you're like, no, let's embrace the chaos of this. Sort of like,
exactly.
If this is what you're getting up, go on.
And as I say, it comes down to a judgment call as well. It's like if you want it to go a certain way, don't call for the roll. Yeah, it's like if you want them to find the secret door, I forget where I read it or saw which video I saw it in, but someone's like, we want them to find the secret doors. Yeah. All the cool stuff is there. So if using passive values like passive, I always have a player with insane passive perception. It's always cropping up. But if you don't want there to be a risk of it failing, then don't call for the roll.
Absolutely. Or again, like with, I think the incisive rogue, where it's like, you can just always tell when someone's lying. So you're like, they do this. Yeah. By the way, Bill, this person's lying. And you're like, okay, cool, great. I'd like to be a little bit sneaky in this game, but all right. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, and I think, yeah, my players will definitely know that I don't tilt things in my favor because I get a little bit salty when there's just like, oh, you guys are just invulnerable. It's like, oh, I guess I can't do anything this round.
Fine, I guess you guys beat the Lich.
Woe betide you end up at the bottom of the turn order in the initiative order because you've got a whole world of hurt coming at you before you get a go.
Yeah. And again, it's that whole thing about you saying it's a collaborative storytelling thing where you're like, as you said, you want them to find the door.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh, there's a really cool sword in that room. Are you sure you don't want to look behind the painting? Go on, the painting's really good. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And as opposed to fudging dice rolls, I'm more for like fudging lore and fudging lore drops to actually cater to the story. Most of our adventures, not entirely, but a good percentage of our adventures are published modules. We enjoy playing in the Forgotten Realms, as you guys do as well, and we really enjoy using the published material and the in-lore locations. But I always remember and enjoy using the ideas of Mike Shea, Sly Flourish, the Lazy DM books that he wrote. He often talks about having these lists of lore drops that you want to give to the players, but not deciding where they are, and not setting where they are in the world, and then when they are in an appropriate place and doing a investigation check in this room, or looking at the markings on this this mysterious obelisk, then you can drop in the lore where it's appropriate and find the story. And so that's, I don't know if that's the same as fudging, but it's just a bit more tailored, should we say. I think
it is that sort of, I know Chris talks about their DMing being that whole thing about people being like, oh, there's a really secretive room behind this door, or just a corridor behind this door, and you're like, yeah, whatever they choose, the trap door is going to be that. It's just like you were saying, like you're like, oh, you're looking in a drawer and you're like, oh my goodness, an interesting journal is in this drawer. It's always going to be where they're looking.
Right. Also, of course, with being aware and cognizant of not railroading at the same time, like rather than have a fascinating room and a corridor, like have two fascinating options.
Yeah.
So it's like either way, it is their choice, but either way is going to be interesting. Yeah.
The corridor is also very interesting, as you said. There's like scratchings on the wall.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think that's fair. Yeah. That's sort of yeah.
Yeah. Do you DM yourself?
Yeah, I do. I do a bit of DMing.
Yeah. So
yes.
What's the fudging dice rolls view? Switch, play that Uno card, the reverse card.
No, I will not be the answeree. Yes, I think it is that same sort of thing about like. I feel especially like DMing on stream, where I was like, I want this to be, to get the story, but I also want them to have fun. But that same sort of thing of like, again, being aware, like, oh, we've got 3 hours, and you're just like, cool. This, I have got a habit of like, my beasts are like, yeah, this is too noisy, we're leaving. And they're like, but we want to kill the boars. And I was like, it's just gonna take like 4 more things, that's just a fudge. They've run away. They failed their charisma. They've run. Right. But also that same sort of thing where I've had things where I've been like, oh, there's this really interesting book. And then they're like, no, we don't want to read the book. And then I was like, cool, this creature's turned up. And they're like, what is that? I was like, well, if you read the book.
Consequences.
There's a whole weakness. Absolutely. Well, maybe read the book. No, but I think, as I said, that sort of it is that's a weird thing knowing that we've got an audience out there as well to entertain. Yeah. So we're not like, cool, half an hour of us just talking about like the minutiae and just like, cool, it misses. Sure. That's fine. Let's just keep it going so you can throw this hag off a wall or something. But yeah.
Yes. Although one rule that I will never fudge is we do that optional rule where I roll the death saves in secret.
Oh, nice.
So none of the players, including the player that's been knocked out, knows how they're doing until somebody checks them. And then we have them do a flashback on their turn. So they have this moment from their previous life that passes before them. And just it's something we've adopted like towards the end of last year, and just racks up the tension so amazingly. And me too. I really have to focus on the poker face, because it's like I'm really excited about what's going to happen as well. And yeah, I'll never pretend like if I got a nat one, it's 2 failures. I never pretend that it wasn't. And we haven't lost anyone yet.
Touch wood. No, again, yes, that is always fun. That sort of poker face thing of like going, interesting. I'm not telling you what to do, cleric, but maybe you should come check the barbarian.
Oh no, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good at leaving that up to them. It's like you can, they can get there and see, because you just don't want that metagaming, right? It's just that just really bugs me when it's like, oh, the first turn's fine. They're gonna even if they fail, we've still got another couple of turns if they know that it wasn't a natural one. But if there's that chance that the first roll was a natural one, it could be the next round.
It also is talking about metagaming, that fun thing of like going on a scale to 1 to 65. Where would you say you were? 37. Yeah.
Well, we do the bloodied and last legs rule. So if they get to half HP, they're bloodied. If they're on 10 or less, it's last legs. And we put little markers. We use Roll20 for the VTT, and we put markers on the tokens to show that for the enemies and the heroes. So if the adventurers, so if they can put it on their token, and the others on the battlefield will see them staggering or like limping or looking in a bad way. So they don't have to literally talk HP, talk numbers.
Again, looking over as blood's pouring down, and going, I think she's okay.
Got another round or two in her.
Which of course, like on a scale of rounds, like 6 seconds, you feel like you've got about 12 seconds left in you.
Dizzy yet?
Too much blood. Just like a more medical character is like, well, the human body contains not the time. Just
it's like, I'm not measuring. It's a lot, okay? It's a lot.
It hurts. I'm on ouch.
Exactly.
You're like, okay. I like the tension of hiding the roles. I think that's I've seen other ones. Recently, there was clips going around on social media of the American football player. Is it Johnny Stanton? Okay,
I think he did an interview with Brennan Lee Monaghan on the Dimension 20 show that they do, and he mentioned it. It looked like Brennan. It was the first time Brennan had heard about it, but he shares the role with the player, so the player knows how they're doing, but not with the other players. So there's different ways of doing it, but I like our way. It's fun.
I think that is to add to the tension and the fear, and even the players, like I'm as you said, like flashing back and lapsing in and out of consciousness. Very just like
exactly and getting to have that RP moment in the rounds of combat is a really nice touch, and really lets them think back on their backstory and things that have happened.
We did have a moment for me on one of the streams where I managed to roll a nat 1 on the second turn, and you see me getting it, looking up at the screen, and like the over thing pops up the 1, and everyone else is like, why? What happened? And Em, who's DMing, just goes, Tom, what did you do? And then of course we had to have an edit because Em's like, are you okay? I'm like, I'll just die. People like this character. We found a diamond, but just that moment of just like going, oh no.
I've never gotten to do the full kind of resurrection scene. We've had a couple of players come back as reborn. Reborn. It is reborn, isn't it?
Yes,
the Van Richten's guide. But one of them was in Barovia, and they had this separate scene where actually sorry, I mentioned him a lot, but he's a good friend, and I love him as a GM and a role player. But Patch from Quest Junkies UK came and joined us. It was off stream, and there was just the two of us, and he played one of the Dark Powers. that reached out, and the players playing Esmeralda D'Avenir from Curse of Strahd in our homebrew Ravenloft campaign, which carried on after our Curse of Strahd finished. And the that was a bargain was made to come back as the Reborn. And then the other one, which is in our Candlekeep Mysteries campaign, they have strange eldritch folk horror goings on in the town where they're based, and the character that died is connected to that, and this power, this strange mythical goat-headed being brought them back as a Reborn, which was fun.
Yeah. I like you bring in guests to be like, here's this mysterious voice. Yeah. I mean, the Dark Powers are so much fun.
Right.
When I was doing Curse of Strahd, I basically got possessed, and then it was like, you want as much power as you can get. So my character was literally running around, slamming her hands into the sarcophagus and going, agreed. And they were like, all right. And so they're watching me change, and like I had like the thing where I had no eyes, and they're like, I don't think Ava's okay. No, it's
I know some of our stream team buddies are enjoying that particular part of Curse of Strahd right now. Josh and the others over at Corsair's Cove are in the Amber Temple right now. Last session I saw them playing, they were chatting with the various the various folks in the Amber Crystals.
But very nice, actually, once you get to know us. Make a deal.
Yeah, it's always good stuff. Lots of good stuff.
Yeah.
His is fascinating actually because it's not Barovia, it's Barovia, as in an animal's burrow, because they're using the Humblewood setting from Hit Point Press and all the animal characters that come with that, and so even all the NPCs and everything. So they've all substituted them all for the various animal characters from that setting. So it's fascinating because especially having run it myself as well. It's really, really fun to watch. And Josh is great, so it's awesome.
Again, where you're like, oh yeah, that NPC is like, they're now a weasel. And then you're just like, okay, that's... And I think that's all... Yeah, go on.
I don't think I've seen a session where Strahd showed up, but it better be a vampire bat. It has to be. Has to be.
Or he just turns up, he's like an otter, and like, hey, I'm as surprised as you are. Deal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you played Descent into Avernus?
No.
There's a surprise otter in character in that one, NPC in that one. It's just like a sudden otter is sudden. It's like, what?
I bet you're utterly surprised. I'm kidding. I'm going to kill you now. You're like, oh.
Yeah. Otters irresistible dancers.
He's like, I've reskinned so much here. I'm having a great time.
Writes itself.
Delightful. Cool. So I think that was us talking about fudging as we slowly descended.
Somewhere in there. Yeah.
It's always the fun thing about this show, where you're like, we had a question at one point, and then we got excited.
Well, actually, I point that out to my students sometimes. Yeah. It's like sometimes the lesson, like the opening conversation we started having, just goes on this this journey and go through these various side tracks and things, and rare, but we don't get to the textbook, and then we at the end of the class I was like, just think back on what you just did and like how natural a conversation you just had, because it just takes all those twists and turns, and
better to learn like the colloquial kind of this the roots and the like.
That's how I learned all my Japanese. I didn't study from a book ever. Just living here, which is the best way.
The best. As much as we love textbooks, it is more fun to
Just, I mean, that's how we're designed to learn. So
community. Right. Speaking of dice, speaking of community, let's see what we get.
What you got?
That is a 7.
Okay.
Is there a moment in a TTRPG that impacted your life out of game?
Sorry, you cut out a little bit there.
Sorry, let's try that
impacted my life.
A TTRPG moment that affected your life out of game.
Out of game. Wow.
Yeah.
TTRPG. Let's think. I have had it work the other way, where things in real life have affected the game. So a lot of the players on our channel are people who were in my city here, which is the Iwaki in the name, the Phoenixiwaki. And they were teachers here and then have moved back and onto other things. And two of them in particular, in different campaigns, one took over from the other as a teacher here. And so took over in their apartment. They moved into the apartment the other player moved out of, and they never met each other and never talked. But they were both in games at the same time, and they both chose Fallen Aasimar as their character type, and as their background, and so I was like, okay, they're brothers, but they don't know it. And because all of our campaigns are in the same world. Yeah, it's all one coherent world, and everything's happening at the same time. So I had these two players who had followed on from each other in the same apartment, and then had chosen the same character type and everything, and then the two campaigns continued on. And we had this huge story. People familiar with the channel would have heard me talk about it and reference it, because it still pops up from time to time. But they were the sons of a celestial couple, which made the Aasimar roots there. And then one of them had fallen and become a devil, and one of the players was in Descent into Avernus. So the father was there in the Nine Hells in Avernus, and we did this huge long con thing where the mother was being held captive in the Nine Hells, but as the two brothers did heroic deeds, they became stronger and gave that power to her, and she was able to start manifesting through, like, almost possessing, but kind of just channeling through bystanders that were nearby where her sons were. And there was this lullaby that she used to sing them as babies. And I had that. We love to use Sirenscape for sound effects and music and things. So I would have that in the mix, just this song playing in the mix of like cityscapes and things. So it's just animals and people talking and just all this background noise, but then just for a small time it would be there. And after a while the players started noticing that was coming up again and again, and then they started finding who was singing it, and they were like trying to find out what was going on. And it's a very long story, so I'm not going to say the whole thing, but they eventually they discovered it. And I actually had the two, because we play everything online because everyone's so scattered all over the place, but we had the two groups meet without any explanation. I just said to each group, just for next week, just for 1 week, I need to do it on this day instead, and had the two groups meet in the session. Just they opened the call, and these players they don't know were there, and then through this process of the session, they discovered that they were brothers. And yeah, that was awesome. It was really fun, which was just something that popped up, just a random coincidence in the real world that kind of linked into that.
That is always a fun where you're like, as you said, if it's all in one world, you're like, yeah, that problem back in the town, these guys. You're like, oh hey, yeah.
Yes, yeah, all the time. We love all the crossovers. Yeah. That the homebrew Ravenloft game, they're seeking to return Barovia back to the material plane and let it be released from the mists of Ravenloft. And the Candlekeep Mysteries crew found the section of mountainside with this huge unnatural gouge in it where the valley was supposed to be. And so just dropping Easter eggs in here and there and everywhere. It's fun. It's really fun. Hey, topical.
Yeah.
It's just had Easter.
Yay. I also now picture like some people like, oh, we're going to try and build something in that like divot. You're like, if Barovia comes back, we got to keep this area clear.
It's like that's like Modern Cannon's tower, isn't it? Like like when it teleports back into Waterdeep, and there are like urchins, city urchins that dare each other to go onto the base for as long as possible, like in case the tower materializes.
Modern Cannon might come back. Yeah.
So I think that's about as far as I can go. Nothing more than that.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
apart from it's a cliche, but all the friends we made along the way.
Yay.
Yes, lots of cool people in this community.
How do you do you need to decompress after a session, or are you able to very much leave it at the table and walk away?
Yeah, pretty much. My schedule is such that I work really late in the evening because the students come after school, after work, and so I'm here really late anyway. So whether I immediately rush home or play some D&D and then go home, either way the family's just asleep. Everyone's just like just out for the count. So I usually I play a few sessions after, and I have the drive home because I'm at my place of work here because again sleeping people's not good for noise, and growling and yelling as monsters and things, and so I have that kind of drive home after, and think about things, but pretty much I mean because we do have all these sessions through the week, so I don't know how you feel about this, but I really find that I really thrive on momentum. And there's a couple of long national holidays here in Japan. When you have like 5 or 6 consecutive days off work, and restarting after that is always really hard. But people often say, how do you juggle everything? How do you I have 4 kids. And the school that I teach at is my own business. I run the business, and then I do the channel as well. And people say, often ask, how do you do it all? And it's just I just don't stop, just keep going.
Yes.
And I really thrive off that and enjoy that. So I don't really actually seek to decompress. Really, I love rolling into the next one and the next one. And continuing, the adventure, and again, considering them all one kind of universe and one kind of story that's happening. Because that's the other thing people say is, how do you run so many campaigns? Because we have 6 or 7 going on at the same time.
Amazing.
But it is, like I say, just one big story, just different chapters happening at the same time.
I think that's good. Yes, same. The momentum, and then it's sort of like going where you are, just like, cool. I've just got a week of nothing now. What do I? Do I just go pottering around, or just?
The kids make sure that never happens. But
exactly, you just
get to enjoy all that instead.
And I think that's also the nice thing about you saying, you've got the drive. You have that little break in between, rather than. For me, because sort of I finish doing something and then I'm just sort of sitting here in my office going, is it too late to have a cup of tea or something? Again, pottering, just wandering around I guess I'll go to bed, and then my brain starts going, cool. So when you did this bit, I'm like, no, I need to go to sleep. And interesting. You could have done that. I'm like, shush, hush, it's time for sleep. Yeah.
Have you thought?
Yeah. Have you thought?
I think. Yeah, I do have several morning sessions that finish around lunchtime here as well, but again, I'm straight into getting ready for class and getting ready for work after that. So I don't really have that, or just I'll sit down and watch some videos or something.
Yeah. Again, it's not a detox, but a nice little break, and then into. And I suppose that again, as you said,
Mm-hmm.
you've got 6 or 7 different things where you're like, cool, done that, on to the next thing. Keep it going, keep the wheel spinning, which is nice, rather than.
And I live for that momentum. I love it so much.
Wonderful. Well, we're getting through these questions. We're doing a nice speed. Roll that dice.
What's it going to be?
Is it going to be? Now you might not answer this one. Number 11. Who is your favorite character? Now, I suppose that could be one of your favorite characters that you have. One of your NPCs, or I mean, I don't want to make your players feel jealous where you're like, yes, you, my favorite child.
I think I couldn't pick a player character from the campaigns because they're all so fab, and just all the backstories, and like I say, we play the published modules, but I just love weaving the stories together, and I love all the coincidences that happen. And like, we just had the reveal in Tomb of Annihilation earlier today for me, that the paladin character is looking for a lost relic that was stolen by a pirate, and they defeated and were questioning some smugglers in a like additional content thing that we were playing in the Port Nyanzaru setting. And one of the options in there was that they know where this pirate hideaway is, which is included in the official module, and so we just replaced one of those pirates there. I just love how all those things just click together so nicely. So I always enjoy coming across new chances and new stories and new things to do. So I couldn't choose any of the player characters, but for myself, I mean, of the characters I've played, the first ever online one that I played was always very special, and a nervous stepping out into the online play world. Was the first ever time. I hadn't DM'd anything at that point. It was the first time ever doing anything in the online space, and that character then became a very important NPC in the Iwaki multiverse, the Wakiverse, as the Discord has christened it. But then, but nothing's sacred, I guess, because at the end of our recent evil mini campaign, the evil characters were working for Vecna, and he wanted them to travel back in time to destroy this NPC that was my character, because he was the major quest giver for everything. And do you know the Doomed Forgotten Realms supplement?
No.
And source book. It's this amazing reimagining of the Forgotten Realms, and the Sword Coast in particular, into the situation where heroes didn't stop any of the official things from happening.
Okay.
So all the bad things that were supposed to happen in all the official modules happened.
Yeah.
So Tiamat is in the world, the demons have risen out of the abyss, Elturel and Baldur's Gate have been taken into the Nine Hells. All these things have happened, and it has this amazing map that's just reimagining of the Sword Coast, and Vecna's in charge there. So we thought we'd mix that with our in-universe lore, and so he sent them back to destroy this quest giver, so that none of the evil folks were thwarted, and this could happen. So we now have this split timeline. So we have the original timeline where this hasn't happened, and everything can continue as written, and we have the other timeline where we're going to have this post-apocalyptic, games. And actually, the first game we're going to play in that is with a guest GM Josh, who's on our channel. He's going to run a Band of Blades. Right. Band of Blades. No. It's a Forged in the Dark game, in the same people that did Blades in the Dark.
Oh yeah.
It's that same kind of rule system, and that's set in a post-apocalyptic, this kind of haunted wasteland kind of world. Nice. And we thought we do love to keep things in universe, even if they're different game systems. So we're going to be playing this non-D&D game, but in the Forgotten Realms, or the Doomed Forgotten Realms.
The Doomed Forgotten Realms.
The Doomed. Let's not forget. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. So yeah, that character was very special, and just going from, learning how to play, and learning how to be in the online space through all of the the quest givings and all of it ties into the campaigns, and then to actually. Cathartic's the wrong word.
Yeah.
Just to have that that closure and see everyone's negative reaction to it. So I was like, you can't kill him. It's like it was very nice. It was lovely.
Again, the respect you have for the character, going, we all know how important he is, and look at how bad the world is now.
Exactly.
I think that's also really exciting that you're able to go, yep, we'll make a dark universe stuff. Just like that is always fun. that is always fun in sci-fi, where you're like, oh no, the evil alternate universe. Just like, we had one of our one shots where we had to split it off because someone inadvertently summoned the Tarrasque at the end of like the second episode, and then we came back and we were doing like Mad Max again, like little animals like driving around, just going, we need to defeat the Tarrasque, and in the end we didn't really, and someone had to just come in and go, cool, we're cutting off this timeline. The rest of you can go back to the normal Faerun, but just like going. Yep. And then, of course, the wonderful thing with that is that we were like, things from that universe keep falling in, including into Waterdeep, where, because in our universe, the giant statues are naked, because someone commented. Okay. And so, like, naked statues, like, landing in Waterdeep, and then people just, because you know how Waterdeep is, they're like, cool, we're going to turn this into a bar. So you're just coming in and go, yeah, just like alternate universe statues just turned off. And but I think that's great. I think that, and again, I think that's lovely that you're able to go, this character meant so much to me that I'm able to just, and again, like you're saying, if people were having this reaction to it, you're like, it's always nice when people click and you're like, matters to you.
Yeah, and it was fun because we got to plan it for a while, so we were seeding what was going to happen beforehand. So we did a Spelljammer campaign a while back, and one of the characters was his granddaughter, and discovered that and met her cousin, who was another granddaughter of his, in the adventure. But that's when I said it happened. So they had just met and they were just starting to get to know each other, and then I dropped that they now had no recollection of their connection to each other. Just like in the middle of going to get a round of drinks in the bar, yeah. And then suddenly they didn't know who they were, and then he had also he was in the process of ferrying our heroes around the Frostmaiden across Icewind Dale in his little airship, and blinked out of existence then as well. And he had disappeared in several instances. And then people were like, what is going on? Why does this keep happening? And then we did the evil campaign, and the players in the evil campaign didn't know that was the end goal. So that was great too.
Well done, evil players. You broke everything. Yes. Again,
dance on my strings, marionettes.
Again, the loveliness of the ripple effect, and then just going, and then if you're like, this one character remembers, let's find out why. Exactly. Very, very exciting.
Actually, yeah, my Out of the Abyss players were in the Stone Giant Library of Graven Hollow, and there are echoes there of people who will visit in the future and who have visited in the past, and there are all these famous Forgotten Realms people that you can drop in there, like Elminsters and kicking around in there, and people are just like walking around, and you can interact with them, but they're not in that timeline. And so actually had them meet. They met this NPC that was, and he was with his granddaughter there, the one that's now the quest giver. So that was really fun. Basically, wherever there's a cross pollination, crossing of the streams of the threads, then we always tie it in there.
I mean, you've got to cross the streams, yeah.
No, never. But I mean, that's one of the joys of doing this online and having the audience and the people who are generous enough to spend so much of their time with us, and that as a reward for them, and seeing people in chat recognizing who this is and recognizing what's happened and freaking out over there is great.
I mean, the lovely thing for us is because we've got the fan run wiki who are like charting, and we're like, and because I like making these references to previous things where I'm just like, and it's like, cool, the wiki will catch this, and we're like, we've got people who are like one Troutworthy, who is like making a chart going, right, these are how these characters interact.
Oh, amazing.
And it's beautiful, but it's a tangled web of like
yeah.
And then I'm coming in and going, yeah, come.
How late into things did that start? Because that would be something that would be just a nightmare to do retroactively.
I think we got there sort of relatively within the first year. So,
it would have to be, wouldn't it? Right?
Yeah, no, but as you said, retroactively, where we're just sort of going, okay, cool, and then
I had someone jump into the YouTube comments on one of our VODs recently. I was like, loving this, and I'm working my way through the other campaigns. I was like, good luck.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff in there. But thank you.
That's the fun thing when you start working out how many hours of content you've actually got, and you're just like, yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Well, I think it's like they said, like, if you're watching all of Critical Role, it's like watching The Simpsons twice or something, for the amount of content there is out there for that show. But
our sessions are usually like 2 hours.
Okay,
so it's not like the same length of marathon episodes that Critical Role has.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, we average on about
a bit laggy.
We average on about like 3 hours, and then we got.
There you go. Okay.
There you go. So 3 hours for us, sort of doing 2. So like 7 hours of new content each week, including this, where you're like, hi, and especially like with Talkies is a Free Action, where like we've been told, okay, none of this is canon, and then we're like, cool, all of this is canon, and we're going to see what like. All 3 of us are now like, cool, can we give like little items to the players who have to then go back in and like there was a lovely one where one of the players wasted all his pitons like going through a dungeon, and then was like later was like, I would cross it, but I have no pitons for some reason. And I'm playing in that one, I'm going, yeah, because you left them in my dungeon. Yeah. But no, I think
nice.
Yeah, I think as we said, the loveliness of having a onboarded fans who are like, oh, this content, and go, which is always lovely when you're like, they get this, they remember this, so like even when the players are like, who's this guy? They're like, the audience knows how great this is. Yeah.
Yes, so you get like a new player to the channel, pull them. It's like,
yeah,
it's like you want to drop the Easter eggs for the chat, but the new players are like, what just happened? Sorry.
Why are you so excited to see this guy? It's like, out of character, I'm really excited. In character, just there, just the man.
Yeah, and we're not afraid to isekai characters all over the place as well. Like GM Josh, like the first game he did for us on the channel was Deadlands game, set in the reimagined US setting. And my character from that had kind of like warlock, kind of almost otherworldly kind of powers. And right at the end, this big eldritch horror that we were fighting in this small cowboy-filled town, just destroyed him, and he just vanished. And then he made an appearance in Rime with the Frost Maiden, and then was in the opening of that Spelljammer campaign as well. Nice. When he got eaten by a kraken. So,
did he walk to another universe now? We couldn't say. Just
watch this space, I guess. Yeah. Or one of them.
It's just like constantly like, why can't I die? You're like, terribly sorry, you're now in Vampire the Masquerade. Deal with that.
Let me go, please.
I just want to stop. I think we have time for one final question.
Yay.
Let's do it. Beautiful. Let's have a look. That is again. I'm having to change this because a lot of this is player based. But number 13. What do dice mean to you? Do you hoard?
Not really. No. I have right here, right in front of me. I have my bumper bag of, just regular, just the different colored dice. Just like had 6 sets in it, and just grabbed it online. Then anything after that, I mean, I've won a couple in giveaways, which has been really nice. And then of course, any other set that I have that I'm very fond of is from a certain Taiwanese friend of ours. Friend in Taiwan. Yes, Phoenix Dice. At the end of last year, I got very, I don't know if it was the festive seasonal, I got very very sentimental and got all of my players to get in contact with Phoenix Dice and have them choose a set that most suited their character. Which beautiful dice, and so many lovely options. I have these gorgeous metal ones, which were a farewell present and thank you from one of those Asimar brothers, fallen Asimar brothers, when she left the city. Yeah, we actually got to say goodbye face to face before, and we play together still, but all online now.
Yeah.
So that's just that token of appreciation was appreciated right back.
Yeah.
But yeah, not a hoarder, not a hoarder. But I do love them. There are so many lovely, pretty designs and things.
And I think that's the lovely thing, that it's nice to have some sentimental, and that's like, again, when you're like, I'm very similar, where I'm like, I think I bought a set when I was starting, and then other ones which have been gifts, or like, I mean, because the one I'm using, it is an official roll together dice from.
Oh, nice.
But that's so I'm like, yeah, represent the brand, but also that sort of sweet thing about going, oh right, I got that from that person or that, Which, again, I know there are some people who are like, just seem to keep buying dice, where just like, it's great. It's like when you get into like superstitions, where you talk to someone and then they just come out and go, oh yeah, of course I've got like multiple dice jails, and I have to put them out in the moonlight, and you're like, okay, right. We have a very different way of respecting the click-clack math rolls. Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah, but yeah, I only pull out the metal ones for very weighty rolls, shall we say?
The dramatic ones, yes.
Indeed. And then, I don't. And actually, like for speeding things up, I'll actually use the clickable character sheets on Roll20 and stuff, and just use the online stuff there if I can, just to make things faster. As D&D combat needs from time to time, streamline it as much as possible. But I don't know. I spend, the money that we spend is on beautiful character art and things instead. Yeah. It's lots more projects there instead.
Very nice,
I would say.
Yes. Well, sadly thinking that we're coming to the end of our time together. I feel like I'm doing like a children's program, like we're coming to the end of our time together.
As the sun sets on the tumbly wumbly wood.
Everyone just shutting their doors.
The little clickety-clackety mathrooks rolled home to bed.
And just you see Vecna up in the tower, like, good night, everyone. I'll destroy you in the morning. Sure you will, Vecna. Sure you will. Amazing. Well, this is a chance. If there's anything you'd like to plug.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you haven't already, please head on over to our Twitch channel and come and say hello. All of our games are live, and we like to talk with folks in chat. Don't mind breaking the immersion a little bit, and it's always great to have everyone jumping in and chiming in with it and coming on by. Then, I mean, particularly, I believe as this is going out, we'll have just started. On April 22nd. So I believe this would have happened already, but just the first session of our new Spelljammer campaign. We're going to be playing through the official the Light of Xerxes one that they have, but with the all of the fabulous extra content from that same the same designer that did the stuff that we've used in Wild Beyond the Witchlight and Tomb of Annihilation. We just did some of their stuff as the opening. A creator called Dan Khan, who's an awesome third-party writer of extra toys and fun for the official adventures. And so we're going to be playing through that with some old friends and a brand new player as well. From Saudi Arabia.
Ooh,
nice. Going to be joining us for that. I'm really excited to get to play with them. And then in May, from May 8th through to May 21st, we are teaming up with our friends over at the Games Tavern. Reed and everyone over there at the Games Tavern, they do an annual charity week, or 2 weeks in this case, for the American charity No Kid Hungry, which deals with setting up food banks and helping out with all the kids that can't get the food that they need over in the US. And that's just really, really good thing to be part of every year, and we love doing that. So during that period, again, May 8th through the 21st, all of our regular campaigns will be going, and we'll have a couple of guest games as well. Hopefully get some nice special guests for you to enjoy over on that. And we'll be playing a couple of games of one-shot roulette, and like I say, our regular campaigns, and they'll have all of the donation effects that will be in. People can donate and trigger things in the games. And we've had some goals. You were saying about the Tarrasque before.
Yes.
Some of our Ravenloft players played level 20 versions of their characters against a Tarrasque because that was one of our stretch goals in a charity campaign. We have yet to do the Whoopsall pets and get the various animal companions of the Wakiverse are going to come together and do a one shot at some point. So yeah, we'll have lots of opportunities to jump in and affect play and hopefully do some good there.
Amazing, great stuff. Yeah, no, very, very exciting. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time.
Yeah. So, as we're coming to the end, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us this evening, or day, or afternoon. Other time zones do exist. Speaking of...
Wherever and whenever you are.
Wherever! Even if you're watching the VODs. We stream this talk show every Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. British summertime, or it is Talking as a Free Action, in which it is a puzzle dungeon in which I'm wearing a dressing gown and have a puppet for a hand. Traditional Dungeons and Dragons stuff. We're also streaming our D&D games on Mondays and Tuesdays. Monday, 6 to 9 p.m, which will be new content, and Tuesday we are rerunning some of our classics. I think we're still in Sea of Swords at the moment, because that was a 12 episode. But it's great fun watching our players and DMs like, oh, look at you 2 years ago. Still talking about lockdown, still just, yeah. Speaking of, you can find our shows at twitch.tv/rolltogetherrpg. There should be a link in the chat now for the YouTube videos, and you can enjoy us as a podcast. Finally, big thank you to the D20 Club on Patreon. Massive thanks to all our sponsors and supporters, and I am delighted to be able to say, I know not a lot of people like this saying, but please stay classy at the table. Thank you very much.